Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. It's the Grandpopster coming to you from the living room in Jacksonville Beach. It was a rainy day, but now it's a sunny afternoon. But you can't see that because we're reading another book online. This is the next in the Dr. Seuss series. And this is one that we saw um, saw before. Now, I never read these books beforehand, and the reason that I don't is because if I was at your house and you brought me a book and you said, "Hey, Grandpa, will you read me this book?" I would just read it. I would have no idea what was going on in it. This is not about me necessarily sharing you books that my mom read to me. This is not a book that was read to me when I was a kid. I'm just reading you books. And so I don't know who's in this book or anything, but we did see another book. There was a guy named Bartholomew in it, and I think it was Bartholomew, maybe even Bartholomew Cubbins, because he was in another book, maybe the second book, where he had 500 hats. I might be totally off base about all this stuff. But I do remember that there was a book, If I Ran the Zoo, and it was all these like crazy animals that would be in the zoo. So this sounds like almost the same book, but this is the circus. So I have a feeling that we may see the same people. So let's explore If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. This book came out in 1956, so I was around 3 years old when it came out. He dedicated it to his dad, Big Ted of Springfield, the finest man I'll ever know. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in the big vacant lot. So this is another poem, and a lot of these are poems. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plan, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. So this is not Bartholomew Cummins, this is a different guy. I don't think Morris McGurk was the guy at the zoo. But we'll see. Here he is on the fence, skipping along. And there's Sneelock in his store. And you can see there's cans in the yard here. Now, a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. There are just two or three, so it's got quite a mess there. And then the whole place would be ready to see. There he is, he's looking in and he's evaluating this place. So this must be a dead tree here. And these are some pretty dead cars. This is the Circus McGurkus. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth, or wherever you go. And there he is, he's using a crane over here, and he's putting up the big top. The whole circus is one big top. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in to the places to the place that you'll see 'em in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Mr. Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. So here it says grand opening tonight, and you can see a circus train coming in with all kinds of animals, and here's McGurk on top of an elephant's head. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs, he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and the pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. So here's the pink lemonade over here, and this is 500 gallons, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500 gallons. And now it says McGurk and Sneelock, and Sneelock has set all these pink lemonade cups out there so we can fill them. And there's McGurk waiting at the entrance for the people to come in. I think it would need a few more people than this to be successful. What an opening night, what a night, what a sight. I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowds will crowd in, and my circus McGurkus will promptly begin. With a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, so this must be his welcoming horn here. But it's got several things, I don't know what they're called, but we'll find out. And here's all the people down here going like, whoa, yeah. So this guy holding his hand up, he's taking a selfie, I think. Or maybe he's filming the stage with his iPhone. You know, I'm messing with you, right? Because they didn't have any iPhones back then. By my with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, by my horn-tooting apes from the jungles of Jorn. So these are apes here. Horn-tooting apes. Where the very best horn-tooting apes are all born, because the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs. And some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. And this is the welcoming horn, and it says welcome, WELCOME, welcome. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. So in the circus, they have the big top, which is the big tent, and it has, usually they'll say a 3-ring circus. They might have 3 different things going on at the same time. But there's things called sideshows, and they're not in the big top. They're off to the side. So there are things, you walk around the circus and you see something and you go in. So back in the day, it would be like the world's fattest lady or something. Although the world's fattest lady would change every day. Back when they first started circuses, people weren't as big as they are now. And now nobody would pay. They'd just look on YouTube and go, oh. You know, where they'd have the bearded lady, they'd have the world's strongest man, all kinds of stuff that you could go, you could look at people and go like, oh, that's freaky. So here we see that there's this animal in the cage, and all these people are looking at the sideshow. And this is, I guess it's a seal and he's balancing on top of these balls that get smaller and smaller and smaller. And he's balancing upside down in the air. And there's McGurk, and he's the ringmaster. That's what they call like the master of ceremonies. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus the Circus McGurkus is. Here on stage one, from the ocean of Ulf, is a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf, who can stand on one whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on the top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 3 golf. So they're not all different sizes. There's 2 tennis balls and then 3 golf balls. And he's on his whisker. There's his whisker right there. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes this drum-tummied snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb. So he's got these I forget what they call these things. They might call them hammers. They're not drumsticks, because they have this like lollipop look to them, and they're big. It's like what you would play a timpani with, or a kettle drum. I don't know what they play those Caribbean kettle drums with, but the kettle drum that they use in the orchestra. And he bangs away on his belly with this. Sweet. And you'll now meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. And here he is, he's eating these things, and then smoke's coming out his ears. And somehow McGurk gets to be everywhere. And here's all the people watching. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. So he's certainly putting a lot on Sneelock. And you'd think with these thousands of people coming, Sneelock would want to be in his store selling stuff. But no, that's just me. And on stage number 4, see the wily Waloo who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. So that's really lasso, but he's using poetic license. With a flip of the hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. Poor Sneelock. He's getting ready to get roped with this animal's tail. The wily Waloo. And now here is a hoodwink who winks in his wink hood. A hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with a wink-hooded hoodwinks. With wink-hooded hoodwinks. The Circus McGurkus. And here's McGurk pointing up to this thing that can't wink unless he has this hood on. The show of all shows. There's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. So a bowman is somebody who shoots an arrow with a bow and arrow. Well, with a bow, I should say. So here he is, and he's blindfolded, and he's shooting through these donut things, through their legs, and even though he's not back here where he should be, he's shooting an apple off of Sneelock's head. The blindfolded bowman from Bigger Barut, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot. Through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm. Oh, here's the 2 hairs on the worm. I forgot about him. Or didn't see him, rather, I should say. And the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. And then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. Now this boy has a very active imagination. And now come to this spot where the spotlight is hot. So here's all the people, and they're like, whoa, look at this. That spotlight is hot. And they're looking at what's there. And you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot. Also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of a circus McGurkus I've got. So here's all those question marks, commas, and somewhere in there is 1 dot. I think that's it right there. And not only is he juggling it, but he's got this seesaw board looking thing that's involved with the juggling act. That's why those folks are so amazed looking. And here now they're running to the big top. See them all, even the babies say, whoa, look at this is awesome. To the big tent. But that's just my sideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. So it's the big tent, but they also call it the big top. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off your shouldsters. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parades is about to commence. So here he is, and he's got a big megaphone. He's standing on this thing, and who's helping him? Sneelock, because Sneelock likes to help out. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock, and he's dressed as a drum major, and now he's like, this is his baton, and the drum major throws the baton up in the air, and it spins around a lot, and they do tricks with it. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock flang his baton on my Orang McGurkus, come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass plated tin. Oh, McGorgan. I thought that was like an orangutan kind of thing. And my McGurkus, come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din. That is super stupendous, stupendous. And when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. And there he is. He's sitting at the keyboard, and he's playing this giant pipe organ. These are the pipes that this. So pipe organ has air going through it, and as it comes out of these holes, it makes different sounds. But this thing has all kinds of. It's got a crow's nest, el carajo. It's got a. That's the guy driving the thing, and these things are walking it along. Yeah, all kinds of stuff going on in this picture. And then a fluff-muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line a fine flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a fibble will carry the flummox's tail, while on top of the flummox 3 hard twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3 snarper harp. And so this is the harp. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. While a bolster blows bloops on a 3-nozzled blueser, and an ulster blows floops on a 1-nozzled newser. And then comes a lion who's partly a trout. Then more stuff for 45 minutes about. So, where's a lion who's partly a trout? Right there, I guess. Yeah, this. Look at all the people. Look in this guy's imagination. This is crazy. And there's a little baby up on top of this balloon, getting ready to fall to his death. People are releasing balloons into the atmosphere. That used to be cool. Now you probably go to prison for 15 years for doing that. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers who march in 5 layers. The froes march on toes, and the toes march on froes. They don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. So they march, and they're each going each different way. So the toes and the froes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No former performers performed this performance. The stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big sticklebush trees, slides a man, what a man, on his roller skate skis. And he'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. So he's got skis that have skate, like roller skate rollers on the bottom. See there? And he's slalom skiing down. See how he's going around these plants? He's going around them and around them and around them. And he likes to take a chance. Sneelock didn't seem like the kind of guy who liked to take a chance. He just seemed like some dude standing there at his store going, hey, I wonder if somebody wants to come in and buy something. And now here in this cage is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as the spotted atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds. And he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. So he's up here on this very flimsy ladder thing. And this thing eats people, but he's up there with his pipe, the ever-present smoke coming out. And that's something that lion tamers do. They put their head in the mouth of a lion to prove that they're not afraid of the lion, and then the lion could bite their head off, but they don't. It would be horrible if they did. I wouldn't want to see that. Some people would go like, "Oh, that'd be great." I would not want to see somebody get their head bit off by a lion or whatever that thing was. What's that thing called? The spotted atrocious. Then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes rest. Poor Sneelock. While high over your head you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezy trapezing. So these things are trapezes. These They hang from the ceiling and you can swing on them. And the people that do that are called trapeze artists. My Zoom Zoop troupe from West Upper Bendizing, who never quite know while they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch what one or who will catch whom, or if who will catch which by the what and just where, or just when and just how, and which part of the air. In the real trapeze act, there's precision. They know exactly where they're going to be. But this is just mayhem because there's so many of them, they just catch each other randomly. There'd be a lot of dead zoops or whatever these things are called. What a circus. My circus McGurkus. My workers love work. They say, work us. Please work us. No workers say that. I've been a worker and I've been a manager. And I never said it, and my workers never said it. Work us, please work us. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises you'd never see half if you had 40 eyes. That's pretty funny. And this is all the surprises that the workers would work up. And here's their work. And I'm glad they show these workers because they, Sneelock's on a break right now. And now, again, Sneelock. Sneelock's off his break. Brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my patented life-risking track. While the speedsters I call my colliding collusions race round in swift cars called abrasion contusions. Olive, ask your dad what an abrasion and a contusion is, and Arlo, ask your mom. And Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He'll be simply delighted. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock. So, Sneelock is now a wrestler, I think. And here's McGurk, Circus McGurkus, Kid. And Sneelock's like in wrestling garb, wrestling this thing. Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, now will tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly. Slap him around, then he'll slam him down fastly and pin both his shoulders tight, flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it. I'm sure about that. So look how big Sneelock is compared to this thing, and he's going to pin it down, hold its shoulders down to the ground, which is kind of what he's doing here. He's also got its tail. I think that thing would just eat Kid Sneelock. And while that goes on there. Look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell. And pell-mell means kind of all over the place. While his horns are jumped through at the same time as well. Losing my voice. By a deer whose horns also are being jumped through. By another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure trainer Sneelock can train them to do. So here's Sneelock now in his lion tamer's outfit again with his whip. And he's trained these things to just keep jumping through each other's horns. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I wheel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number one with an aim that aims true spouts a spout that spouts Sneelock to whale number two. So he's going to shoot Sneelock from the top of his head over to this one. And I guess he could shoot him back over. And then whale number two spouts a spout like a gun, and that spout spouts old Sneelock right back to whale one. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about. Just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. So they're just going to keep shooting them. They're going to keep shooting them back and forth. And there's McGurk. Circus McGurkus. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fear. Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers. I like Sir Beers. Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jawks, and Sir Jeers clatter into the tent, and while everyone cheers, stage a roustabout joust with their boxing glove spears. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below at the top of the tent, look, the star of my show, great daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by three Subrian snipe. So, I guess these are some kind of birds. Oh yeah, they look like birds. And they're pulling him through the air. And he's being pulled by his pipe on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white and all biting their fingernails off in their fright, great Sneelock soars up to a terrible height. And we can see he's way up there, and look at all the people down here, and this child standing up on the railing, so hopefully he's not going to fall to his death. Then he shakes himself loose. He starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out of alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fears does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel. And he plunges down, down, with his hair still combed neat. 4,692 feet. Yeah, I don't think so. That would be a 4,000-story building. And the tallest buildings in the world are like 100 and some stories high. This is a big tent. And look what he's going into. He's going into a fishbowl. Of course. 4,000-foot drop into a fishbowl. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. And look, all the people are like, whoa, this boy's climbed up this pole here. And there's a fish in the fishbowl. fish looks like he's a little bit freaked. While he'll be a hero, of course he won't mind when he finds that he has a big circus behind. See, he's just chilling, smoking his pipe. He's got cans of something, maybe beans, in the window. Sneelot's store. But this was all in this little boy's mind. So that's the end of the story. That was all in his mind. And for some reason, there's a blank yellow page. Peace out.